I strongly disliked the way Amy treated Bernadette in certain situations. While I adore their friendship trio, I often felt uneasy when Amy made comments like these to Bernadette, especially during her wedding preparations when Bernadette should have been the center of attention. Despite their mutual affection, such remarks seemed unnecessary. Amy and Sholden seem well suited for each other, but Amy's remark about being glad to stop pretending that others find her attractive was incredibly hurtful, especially when she referred to Bernadette's friend as cute in the right light, which was quite insulting. Amy tended to vocalize thoughts that others would keep to themselves, which often came off as insensitive. It's no wonder she struggled to find companionship for so long. In particular, her behavior during Bernadette's magazine feature and various other instances was off-putting. Despite her own experiences with bullying and isolation, Amy should have known better than to make hurtful comments about others' appearances. As someone who was bullied for my own looks, I find it hard to sympathize with Amy's behavior in those moments. Amy's attitude towards Bernadette, reminiscent of Howard's behavior before meeting her, was particularly disappointing. It's possible that Amy's jealousy towards Bernadette stemmed from her being both beautiful and accomplished in science, unlike Peny, which Amy might have found threatening. Amy's lack of genuine friendships prior to meeting the group was evident during the first girls' night, where she followed a list from the internet instead of having authentic interactions. It's conceivable that Amy believed female friendships involved some degree of meanness, influenced by how the media often portrays them. As someone who struggled to make friends, she may have adopted this behavior from popular culture, which seemed to work since they continued to spend time with her. However, this doesn't excuse her cruelty. One of the more ridiculous aspects of the show is the suggestion that Bernadette isn't attractive due to her wearing glasses and less flattering attire. In reality, the actress is quite attractive in regular clothing. Acts like sabotaging Bernadette's magazine article or hitting Peny in the nose with her bag were not amusing. Amy's tendency to describe Bernadette as less attractive than Peny on multiple occasions was hurtful, especially considering her own experiences as someone on the autism spectrum. Keep watching for more details. Hi viewers, my name is Sophia. Welcome to my channel. Like this video and subscribe to our channel, so let's start. Initially, I sympathized with Bernie, considering her behavior was becoming unpleasant. However, upon rewatching and observing the unpleasant actions of all the characters, especially Bernie, I stopped caring about their mistreatment of each other. In later seasons, Amy's obsession with Peny reached another level, despite spending a lot of time with Bernadette. I always saw their friendship as one where teasing each other was a form of bonding, especially considering Bernadette's own rudeness at times. Despite Bernadette's rude behavior, she never stands up for herself. Interestingly, Sholden never insults Bernadette or her work, unlike his tendency to target Howard. Amy, on the other hand, often directs rude comments towards Bernadette, but not towards Howard, indicating a special connection with him. Although Amy's behavior towards Bernadette was hurtful, I believe she said those things out of fear and desperation to maintain her friendship with Peny. However, as the show progresses, Amy becomes more comfortable with both Peny and Bernadette, eventually ceasing these hurtful comments and even making jokes at Peny's expense. Her character development throughout the series, largely influenced by the friend group, is quite remarkable, leading her to become more normal and outgoing. One of my favorite lines from Amy is, "I used to go down to the basement and eat my lunch with the janitor. It was nice until his wife called me a puta and made me stop." Even though I'm not a huge fan of Amy's character, that line always cracks me up. Honestly, I think Amy has some of the best one-liners among all the characters, maybe tied with Howard at the very least. Besides the iconic moments, some of my favorite scenes with Amy are the fun with flags ones. It must be quite challenging to portray a character who is nervous to be on camera while being on camera yourself. I particularly enjoyed watching the first Fun with Flags episode where she perfectly captures that awkwardness of knowing she's on camera and feeling uncomfortable. Sheldon's acting in those scenes is also commendable, with his knack for looking at the camera at the wrong times adding to the comedic effect. Lines like, "The only person who signed my yearbook was my mother," "Dear Amy," "Self-respect," and "a hymen" are far better than "Friends and Fun." "Love, Mom," and "Shut your damn mouth." "Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, I'm so overwhelmed." "Yes, I do, let's get me waxed," are just hilarious. Regarding Beverly Hofstadter, I found her habit of asking Leonard multiple choice questions quite awkward to watch as a fan. I can understand why Leonard resorted to questioning reality by smacking his forehead into a wall afterward. While I didn't particularly enjoy her character, I have to admit that the karaoke scene with Sheldon after sexual innuendo was pure gold. Despite finding Beverly Hofstadter to be a despised character, I do appreciate the complexity she added to the show. However, I agree that it would have been satisfying to see Leonard cut her off to emphasize the importance of setting boundaries with toxic parents, much like Amy did with her own mother. She's unequivocally the most detestable character on the show. I've held out hope for her redemption multiple times, only to be disappointed when she repeats the same foolish actions. It's unfortunate that we never got a glimpse of Leonard's more accomplished older sister. Perhaps someone like Jean Louisa Kelly could have portrayed her. It's astonishing that Leonard didn't sever ties with her completely. It would have been commendable for a popular show to depict the normality of cutting off someone so toxic from your life. It seemed like her way of silencing him. I've never been fond of her character and usually skip through her episodes. She's an awful mother, and it's frustrating that there's no effort to reconcile her relationship with Leonard. A compelling storyline would involve her recognizing her faults and striving to improve, but that's never explored. I loathed her character, and I firmly believe she should have been unequivocally dismissed. A single hug can't erase a lifetime of abuse and neglect. She displays psychopathic tendencies, and Leonard should have distanced himself from her the moment he moved out. I dislike her, this scene, their dynamic, his continuous susceptibility to her manipulation, the palpable sexual tension between them, and the implied incestuous undertones. Despite that, I acknowledge her attractiveness. Does anyone else find it odd when they're outdoors? I'm so accustomed to seeing them in their workplace or apartment that outdoor scenes feel out of place. Yes, it does feel a bit strange. I adore the episode where Leonard, Howard, and Raj go camping to watch the meteor shower and end up getting completely intoxicated, haha. You know what's a neat name, Angelo. It combines angel and jello. That's one of my all-time favorite episodes. The storyline with the adhesive duck presents such a remarkable growth arc for Peny and Sholden. Did you know there's an interesting fact about that episode? I discovered this information from Radloff's behind-the-scenes book. Originally, while the guys were high and deep into their survival mode munchies, they were supposed to be shirtless and use their shirts as head wraps. However, the director scrapped this idea because Johnny, Simon, and Kunal were actually in much better shape than the stereotypical nerds they were meant to portray. Additionally, Johnny, being a vegetarian, wasn't too thrilled about having to eat brisket. It's quite apparent that the outdoor scenes are not filmed outside. While I understand the logistical reasons for this from a filming perspective, it does take away from the immersion of the episode. That's because they're shooting in a studio. There are a few scenes where they shot outside, like the Batmobile scene with Peny and Leonard in Season 12, I believe. Yes, but I enjoyed it. Just looking at the examples given in the thread of the great scenes that took place outside assures me that we would have missed out on some classic TBVT moments if they hadn't ventured outside. While I found the obviously fake outdoor scenes occasionally jarring, they were definitely worth it. I'll add one more classic TBT moment to the list. Bernadette and Amy coaching young female scientists over the phone, while dressed as Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty. I don't mind the scenes shot outside. We all know it's a set, but it fits the tone of the show and works just as one would hope. I know it's just a show, but wouldn't Howard have faced serious consequences after Sholden revealed to the FBI agent that he was involved in the Mars rover incident? She seemed quite interested in it, and it seems that this was the main reason he didn't get clearance, but nothing more seems to happen. Initially, Howard had clearance for the Mars rover, and when it crashed or got stuck, they wiped everything and fled. The news reported on how the information was destroyed, emphasizing its significance for mankind. Wouldn't the FBI agent have been able to connect the dots enough to launch an investigation after Sholden accused someone with clearance? We're talking about billions of dollars here. What bothers me is how Howard was granted clearance to go to the space station after the FBI technically found out about his involvement with the Mars rover. With young Sholden wrapping up, the prospect of other spin-offs from The Big Bang Theory emerges. One idea involves Leonard returning to Princeton as a professor, navigating his new role while raising his sassy 4-year-old daughter. However, the absence of Peny becomes a central mystery, gradually revealed through the first few episodes. It's disclosed that Peny passed away, possibly due to cancer discovered during her pregnancy. The focus shifts to Leonard's challenges as a teacher, grappling with diverse students and faculty politics. Alongside, his relationship with his mother evolves as she helps him cope with single parenthood while healing his own heartbreak. Your dedication to the show is evident, and while the current plot might not be the winner, your creativity shines through. It's essential to keep refining and developing the concept, just as TVBT did with its early pilot. Passion and perseverance are key in the creative process, so keep at it. Personally, I prefer a TBD spin-off with a focus on comedy, sprinkled with drama. That balance is what made shows like TBD, Friends, and HIMYM appealing to me. And please, don't consider killing off Peny. Regarding Leonard's relationship with his mother, it's unlikely she could teach him how to love, given her own shortcomings in that area. Forgiving her doesn't automatically make her more caring or affectionate. An alternate spin-off idea I'd enjoy is following Sholden and Amy as they navigate parenthood or witnessing Raj finally finding love, akin to Stuart's journey. And here's a wild spin-off concept, Peny Blossom. Peny lands a role in a reboot of a popular 80s-90s TV show, playing the mom. The series explores her balancing act between her acting career and personal life with Leonard and their twin daughters. Amy makes occasional cameos, reminiscing about how much she loathed the original show as a child. I originally intended to suggest a mini-series about Peny's discovery that evolved into a full-fledged show depicting her struggles to stay afloat in the industry, with Leonard and their daughter offering support and encouragement. Regarding the episode you mentioned, it appears to be Season 12, Episode 9, The Citation Negation. In this episode, Sholden is lying face down on the couch when Leonard and Peny visit, and Leonard discusses Beverly's idea to hold a funeral for their disproven paper. As for whether the Big Bang Theory cast still keeps in touch, it seems likely that they do. Jim Parsons mentioned on the Dinners on Me podcast that they enjoyed working together, indicating ongoing communication. People often read too much into social media interactions, forgetting that many celebrities have publicists managing their accounts, making followings and interactions less indicative of personal relationships. Lastly, there's a detail that bugs me. The entrance to the building should be on Peny's side, not Sholden's, when you go downstairs. However, Sholden's apartment is meant to be on the street side, aligned with the entrance. This is evident in scenes, such as when Howard fetches his Vespa, or when Sholden jokes about taking a walk with hot dogs in his pants. Despite this, mentally mapping out the route suggests that you'd end up on the other side, with Sholden's apartment on the left and Peny's apartment, along with the entrance on the right. If you position yourself in the middle of the stairs, this becomes apparent. Could the building perhaps be situated between two streets, with one side featuring windows overlooking one street and the other side facing another? Regarding my current pet peeves after finishing The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon never settled on a location for his new apartment. Rad's love life was left unresolved, despite almost getting married, only for the storyline to take a sudden turn. Tam's absence from the Nobel Prize event was notable. It would have been fitting for him to at least send a congratulatory message. Sheldon's discontinuation of his catchphrase, "Bazinga," seemed out of character, given its prevalence for a period. The disappearance of characters like Leslie Winkle and Zach, who were favorites among fans, was disappointing. The elimination of beloved events like Halo Night and Paintball Night also left a void. Is it common for individuals in the USA, particularly those without large families or children, to order food from outside as frequently as depicted in the show? In my country, dining out is typically reserved for weekends or special occasions, with most people cooking at home on regular days. Other shows like Friends also portray characters ordering food fairly often. Initially, it made sense for four single guys like the characters in the show to order out, especially when they were just starting out on their own and didn't know how to cook. However, in later seasons, this habit persisted for a couple of reasons. In the show's universe, Sheldon's aversion to change often complicates attempts to introduce cooking at home, and from a storytelling perspective, it provides an easy way for the writers to gather the entire group together. During the time the show aired, young single men with good jobs, as depicted in the show, likely would have been inclined to order out frequently, especially given the better economic conditions at the time. However, it's worth noting that the portrayal of frequent takeout in the show may be exaggerated for dramatic effect. In reality, many people don't order takeout more than a couple of times a week. This depiction could serve as a tactic to stimulate viewers' appetites and encourage them to order food themselves, but it doesn't necessarily reflect the habits of the average person. Additionally, it's important to remember that we only see selected moments from the characters' lives, and they likely don't eat out almost every day. There are instances in the show where they discuss cooking at home, suggesting a more balanced approach to meals. Sorry for mistake pronunciation and thanks for full video watching.